Hi there, I'm Sam from EasyTradingSignals.com, and what we're going to do today is to take a look at our indicators. Okay, so now we're going to take a look at the same area that we had previously for trailing arrows, but what I'm going to do is actually turn trailing arrows off and turn breakout levels on so that we can see what this looks like. It's a slightly different type of indicator, and the intent is also a little bit different, but it is going to help you to identify when the market is going to start breaking out of its range and move into a more trending pattern. So breakout levels, you've got quite a few options as well. If you click on settings, you have the option of a safety margin, and what that does, it will simply make the indicator lines a little bit higher. So if we want to make it a little bit more dramatic, we can do that. You'll see it kind of moves up. So if we make it really dramatic, you'll see that they jump up. So this is if you want to give yourself extra, safety margin or so. I just set that to 0 myself. It will hide if you want above a certain interval level. If you want, like for instance 5 minutes is the default. So the hidden above interval number of levels will be applied to things like these background shadings, which I'll tell you about now. It does not apply to the actual levels, it applies to these background shadings because they simply don't play a role on higher time frames like a day or week or whatever. You also have the option of a lot of moving averages. You can turn on or off. You can turn them all on or off at the same time if you wished, or you can pick which ones you want to see or not. You also have the option to show stock pivot times, main stock pivot times, or forex sessions, and we'll get into that in a minute. You can also show extreme move reversal points, and it will be a little cross above or below, which indicate that the market has reached a particularly extreme point according to the indicator, and just notify you of that. And you can choose to have more signals or less. So as you can see, those two there just disappeared, but these ones here still remain. So it's up to you to decide how you want that, but you have the choice. The forex sessions, they're already pre-entered for you, but you have the option here to actually change them. And you also get an indicator for VWAP if you do stocks. That's probably something you would want. It's all built in here just for your convenience, and it's easy to turn on or off. Right. The breakout levels, it does pretty much what its name is. It shows you when there are breakout levels. And let me do a replay for you so we can actually move through this and see how it actually shows you that a level could be of interest for you in your trading. Just a quick note on the colored sections in the background. These are based on time frames during the day that are deemed to be important times for stock trading. So they basically work around things like tea time, news announcements, lunchtime, and that sort of thing. And I find them useful. You can turn them on or off if you want, but it's kind of useful to have them around. And as you can see here, they actually are quite accurate. The green line over here is just to warn you that the next bar is going to be open of the market. This one over here it's red, which basically just means that there's a potential for the market to reverse, where there can be some action. So this is around about the 9:30, 9:35 mark, and we normally see some action. As you can see, we did in fact here. This area here that's mostly gray is kind of like a time during which the market mostly moves sideways. Not always, of course, but in this case, that did in fact happen. The reddish area in the middle is basically like a stopping point. As you can see, I'm not making this up. This is exactly pre-painted, and Apple responded to it right in the middle there by peaking during this period and then going down. Once this slowdown period was past. We saw Apple rocket up, and here's another area where we expect some action. And as you can see, the market did in fact move up quite a bit. Once it ended, we once again went back into a bit of a sideways move. Here once again a moment when the market can potentially change direction, which it did. Green area, once again just potential market movements and news and so forth. This is normally a news area. They just, basically indications of when things can potentially be changing in the market. So quite a lot of information that gives you just at a glance, and try to keep it simple and easy to use, but still intuitive as well, and rich with information. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to jump back here to the market open. The market open is often quite chaotic, so I'm just going to start right there, and we're going to do our replay. So what you need to notice is that these lines start painting and then extend to the right. So if the indicator thinks that there's a level that's important, it will be extended. It's right there, it painted one, and I broke through that. So you know that this is important. This is quite a jump actually, and there you can see that the market did in fact break out of that. Here we have an indicator with our deviation extremes, showing us that it might reverse simply because it's extended far away from the moving averages. And there we have the market moving further up. So once again, what I suggest you do is that you use the moving averages to exit out of your trade. If it closes below the 9 or 20, I've got the 6 highlighted here as well, simply because it sometimes is important when the market moves fast. But as you can see, a perfect breakout here, basically a 5-minute breakout, and it indicated that for you perfectly. It's obviously not just useful during the start of the market, it's also useful during the rest of the day. As you can see here, no level indicating that the potential breakout going to happen. Another one over there, and in some cases you'll see it actually gives you an indication of resistance and not just support. Generally, when it is blue, it indicates potential break up, and when it's orange, it indicates a potential breakdown, but only if those levels are actually breached convincingly. Otherwise, it just provides you, as you can see here, basically a trading range that you can note and it updates automatically. Over here you can see it identified a new level, and therefore it stopped updating the prior one. And there you go, broke through. And here we have potential new level, and it breaks further up. Potential pullback, indicated by the MA deviation extremes, and then it continues. So over here we have a very, that happened right here. I'm actually going to pause this. This is very important. This is something that I use very often in my trading to know that there's a very good setup here. It basically looks like a little, I don't know, little floor lamp or something, if you can imagine that. Being, the top part of the light, and this being the stand, and you can imagine this being the floor, the blue lines, or this line being the floor. And if you want to imagine the moving averages being like the power line, okay, like if it plugs into the power line, it's standing on the floor, and it's basically hammer. Yes, I know, it's one of my favorite candles as well. Then it indicates, you plug into the power, and there's a very good potential of it moving up exactly like it did. I'm going to leave Apple right there. Then we can quickly move on to the euro. And if I turn on the breakout levels here, you'll see that what I did is I switched on the Forex sessions, and I turned off the stock sessions. So all the other settings are of course the same. but it gives you the different Forex trading sessions. So this is set to 15 minutes, so it gives you different Forex trading sessions as well as when they overlap. And here we have the breakout levels once again, so I'm going to turn off the trending arrows, but you can see how well they work together here. So here we go. So we have the breakout levels, so we have the breakout levels identified once again, and as you can see, it also tells you when you're in a bit of a range and then when you start breaking out. But if we move backwards, you can clearly see where the market has broken out, as well as where there's levels of support or resistance in the case over there. So this is very useful as well when the market is just trending sideways, there's not really a lot of action. You can quickly tell when you see that these are close to each other, the top and bottom ones. Okay, the market is basically trading sideways, and you'll see they start expanding. And then once they hold, the market breaks through. Well, then you know that you're in for a good run. And the same thing with Bitcoin. So here we have trending arrows, but if I turn on the breakout levels here, you'll see how they support each other. And once again, we have breakout levels going down over here. Over here right now at the moment, it's actually live. We see that there's potential for the market to break back up after it went down quite a bit. So if I turn off the trending arrows, just so we can see the breakout levels, you can see exactly how it identified the levels automatically for you, where breakouts potentially going to happen. Then of course you can use that for your trading. This cross over here is the extreme move reversal point that I spoke about, mentioned earlier, and it just gives you an indication that the market could potentially reverse. But you also have the free MA deviation extremes indicator that gives you alerts when the market is either going to consolidate a bit or potentially reverse like it did in this case, and gives you good opportunity to take some profit off the table, or even if you want to enter a reversal trade. Okay, so that's it. That's it for the breakout levels. If you have any questions, please do not hesitate to send me an email, sam@easytradingsignals.com. I'll do my best to answer your questions and any resolve any issues that you may have. And please try it out for yourself on your charts and see how it's going to help you in your trading. Thank you very much.